Hello everyone, my name is David and I'd like to welcome you all to our PDI 4.0 UI overview. Today we'll discuss the new UI, the changes that have occurred. We're not going to go deep into any one singular page, no detail, no actual real instructions into today's overview. However, we'll give you a really good introduction so that way you can learn the ins and outs of the new UI. So with that, we'll go ahead and just jump into today's training. So the first place I like to start with our overview today is our navigation menu. So our navigation menu has changed a little bit. Before we had it structured in various pages and types of what things could do. So like emails had its own section, phone bank had its own section, so on and so forth. In this iteration, we decided to change that a little bit. So our first section here is actions that you can take within the actual program itself. So just various tasks that you can complete. That's looking up individual people, creating your voter universes, generating your paper outputs, your data entry, and importing data from spreadsheets all can be done under actions. Outreach is all of our electronic canvassing tools. So this would be our online phone bank, our mobile app, as well as generating outputs from a map, emails, texting through text, and our web forms. Then we have our reports, which were the various count reports. So all of the voter count reports are all in one singular page now under voter file count reports. Then you have your canvassing reports under field activity reports and data visualization under visualization reports. The admin section is basically the same. There's a page that's been renamed. Account data configuration is now surveys and data configuration. But other than that, basically everything in here is the same, except that imports was moved from over here over to actions. Then we have our file pickup button, still functions exactly the same. It will bring you over to the file pickup page where you can go ahead and download your files. The text box over here allows you to actually search for any page in the program just by typing in the name of the page. For example, here, if I wanted to go over to create universes, I could just type in the word create. It will then bring up a list of all of our pages that have that word in it. And then we can just click create universes to access that page. To the right of that, we have this little hamburger icon. If you click on that icon there, it will bring you up a couple of various pages that allow you to control your actual user account. Inside of here, we have Manage User Profile. This is where you can change between your various organization accounts that are associated with your user account, as well as update your first name, last name, phone number, and password to your account. We then have Manage Account Geography, which allows you to add that geographic filter to your account. Works exactly the same way as it did in the previous iteration. We then have Switch to Child Account, which allows you to switch to a child account of the parent account that you're currently logged into. Most accounts do not have children accounts, so if nothing comes up in this drop-down menu when you use it, more than likely you just don't have children accounts. However, if you believe that you should be able to see children account in there, please contact support and we'll be able to assist you with that. We then have our Help Center, which will bring you to our written documentation, which contains information on the various pages in the program. Videos are not yet completed for this new UI, however, they should begin to roll out shortly. And then the last button here is the Sign Out button, which will log you out of your account. So to further customize the user experience in our new UI, we have created something really adopted a feature that's been in a lot of programs called pinning. Pinning allows you to change the default view or drop-down menu of a particular item on a various page in the program. These pins will be featured in various places in the program. Some drop-down menus will have pins, some will not. If you believe that a drop-down menu should have a pin, please feel free to contact support at politicaldata.com with your suggestion, and we'll see what we can do about adding a pin to that particular drop-down menu or tab. So for example, the way how you use these pins, we have this calendar view here. However, if we didn't want to actually see this calendar, but instead we wanted to see our list view instead, we can select that list view in here and click that pin, and that will then pin down that list view. So now if we go ahead and refresh our page by clicking on our name up there at the top, let the page load. And now we can see that our calendar has now defaulted to this view instead. If you ever just want to remove a pin, if you want to revert it back to its default, just unpin that item and then afterwards, the next time you refresh the page, it will return back to its default setting. All right, so as you can see here for the actual homepage, not much has changed. We still have our quick links. Creating events is still basically the same. The only thing that's really changed is the actual shifts that were created in the previous iteration. You are no longer able to create individual shifts. All of those work shifts will now need to be associated with an event. To create the event in the calendar, so double click on an empty space. That will then populate this create new event pop-up screen. Inside of here, you'll just fill out all of the information in here. The shifts are now referred to as event activities, which are created down in here. You'll just select which activity it is you would like to use, your goal, and if there is a manager for that activity. Once you're done, click that save button, and that will then save that event and all of its various activities associated with it. We do not currently have a training that covers our event and event activities functionality. However, we will be working on something in the near future to get our new users comfortable with these changes. Below that, we still have our daily statistics. Works exactly the same way as it did before. Key support in statistics, it looks a little bit different. However, still functions exactly the same. To refresh your count, just click that refresh key statistics button up there. And then down below at the bottom, we have our system updates. This is where you'll see any vote by mail return updates, vote history updates, registration updates. So any of those will all be posted down here. Currently, we don't have anything posted in here because we haven't done any updates since our 4.0 release. But as soon as we do, you'll start to see that information in here fill out. All right, and then the last thing in here that we can do is we can actually still customize our homepage. We try to simplify the customization. You'll still click the little gear icon here up in the top right corner. That will then bring up this customize your homepage option. We've switched the drag and drop system over to a system of drop down menus instead. Quick link 1 through quick link 6 allows you to customize your various quick links that are displayed. You'll just select them from the drop down menu like so. And if you don't want to use up all 6 options, you can always select no item for the items that you do not want to display. The actual homepage widgets, those are all selected through homepage component 1 through homepage component 4. And then in here you can make your selections. Just as a note, in the previous iteration, the calendar had its own page. In this iteration, it does not. The calendar only exists on the homepage. So if you do create a layout that does not contain the events calendar, then you will just not be able to create events or event activities in your account. The next neat thing that we did for customizing your homepage is you can actually just assign a layout to yourself without actually creating a new layout in the system. To do this, you'll just activate this, save this layout as my default view, which will then save the layout as your own personal layout. However, it will not actually be saved in the account, so no one else would be able to see that. All right, so that is it for our homepage. The next place in the program that I'd like to cover is our individual people search. In the previous iteration of the program, we had something called a contact database. We have changed the name of that because it caused some confusion because people would mix up contacts of people they actually contacted and then the individuals in their contact database. So we decided to change the name of those contacts in the contact database over to people and change the name of the people, the contact database to the people database. So this is done under the action section of the navigation menu under individual people search. In here, you can also look for voters as well. In the previous iteration of the program, you were able to just log in here, click the search button, and search. However, that is no longer true. You'll need to fill out at least one part of the criteria. You still have your additional options as well up here by clicking show additional search options. And then inside of here, we still have address, street name, zip code, party, so on and so forth. Go ahead and click the search button, and that will then bring up my results of my voter database. If you want to switch databases, still under search data filter. In here, like I said before, contact database is now called people database, so you'll see that there instead. And clicking on an individual's record will still bring you over to their person details page, where you can see various information about the individual. Inside of here, we have our contact IDs. These are the various flags that you've collected for the individual's record. as well as any comments that have been collected and support statuses that are associated with those flags. We then have the volunteer info section where you can review all of their volunteer information. We try to simplify the page, and if the individual is a member, is a person in your person database, then you'll also be able to edit their volunteer information in here as well. Since they're not, we can just assign them an event activity if we actually had an active one in our account. Donor info, nothing has changed here, still displays your donations, you can add your transactions. Event info, still the same as well as communication info. The one that has changed is voter info. The voter info tab looks completely different. We reconfigured the way that we like to display our information. In here, you still have the other individuals in a household. If you click on their name, it will still bring you over to their person details page as well. However, it's just the formatting has changed. Over here on the left side, you'll always see the all of the different means of communication. So home address, phone numbers, emails, things of that. You'll see all that information over here. Okay. All right. So that is it for the individual people search. So the next place in the program that we'll cover is creating universes. So in the previous iteration of the program, the voter and contact universes were in two separate pages. Now we've combined them into one page under Actions, Create Universes. So the way how this works, we have our voter universe options here, and then we have our people universe options. So the contact universes have been renamed to people universes. Now these are still two separate tabs within the program. So if you add criteria in here, and then if you try to head over to the create people universe options and thinking that criteria is going to show up over there, it will not. They are still two totally separate pages. So as you can see here, I come back over here and it's completely cleared. So just note that these two are exclusive to their own pages. So inside of the Create Voter Universes page, we have a new tab called Simple Target Fields. The Simple Target Fields tab is best for users who are less experienced with the program, as it gives them basically everything they need to create a basic universe. We have our previously saved universes over here, but this section here will only display previously saved universes that you have set as a target, which we'll go over in a moment. We then have our PDI predefined universes, different means of communication, voter IDs, party, age, gender, ethnicity, and geography. So all the basics that you'll need are in here. To add a universe as a target, that is done under Saved Universes. You'll just locate the universe that you would like to add as a target, and then activate this Set Universe as Target checkbox, and that will then add it to your drop-down menu over here. Okay. Now, for the Geography tab, we've added a new subtab called Quick District Find. The Quick District Find subtab allows you to quickly search for a district by typing in its name here in the Geography box. So for example here, if I type in SAC, I'll get all of the various Sacramento districts in here. And I can just select which ones I would like to use. Other than that, everything else in here is the same. Vote history, nothing has changed. Demographics, everything is still the same as well. Early voting, your flags, everything else is still exactly the same. Alright, so that is it for creating universes. The next place we'll cover is our online phone bank. These are created under Outreach, Phone Canvassing, Online Phone Bank. So in the previous version of the program, the online phone bank had its own drop-down menu here. We've changed that around and consolidated all of the various pages into one singular page. So in here we have our phone banks tab. The phone banks tab is where you'll create the actual phone bank itself as well as the link. So they're both located now in the same place. Creating a phone bank, nothing has really changed there. You'll just click this Create Phone Bank Project button here, assign a name, select universe type, universe name, phone bank survey, and an end date. For phone banks that use people universes rather than voters, we do have a new feature called templates. So if I select this people option here, I'll have this template option down here. And then inside of here, we can select the template that we'd like to use For that phone bank, we can select a standard template, which will just display the standard phone bank information, the donor template, which will display their donation information, so how much they've contributed, their last pledge, the last time they've donated, so on and so forth, if you're entering that information in the program. But then the last one is volunteer, which will display their volunteer information, the last time they volunteered, if they didn't show up to their last shift, so on and so forth. Creating a link, still exactly the same. You'll just click that create a link button, enter in the name for your link, associate a phone bank with it, and then you can allow it to require a password, enable skip callers, self-registration, so on and so forth. The monitor caller activity page is now its own tab in here. The two different views that were tabs are now featured in a drop-down menu called View Report Type. We have our active callers and call details in here. So if you're looking for one, just look at this drop-down menu here, and that will then provide you with the information that you're looking for. And phone bank statistics is in here as well. So all just the basic stuff is all featured in here. So if you ever can't find something that was once associated with something else in the program, always try to look in the same page first, see if that option exists. And if you can't find it, please feel free to contact support@politicaldata.com, and we'll go ahead and assist you with that. So the next place in the program that we'll cover is our mapping, well, what used to be known as mapping canvassing, which is now known as field canvassing. We've changed the way how this page has worked as well. In the previous iteration of the program, everything was all combined into one page, and it created a very stretchy, sprawling page with a lot of different functionality in it that confused a lot of users. So we decided to break up that functionality into a couple of different pages. So the first page that we'll cover is create and edit turf. This is where you can create what used to be known as carved areas. We have now changed that into the industry standard name of turf. So this here is that create and edit turf page. So as you'll notice, the map itself still looks very much the same. The toolbar that was once featured at the top is now located over here. And to start cutting any turf, you can just click this cut turf button here and start drawing out your area. Still exactly the same as it was before. We'll then bring up that save a new area pop-up. You can assign it a name, turf group, click save, and simple as that. You can also display your voters on this map as well. So if you want to use particular universes to create those turfs, you can select your universe here. And this load a universe on the map drop-down menu, and that will then process that universe, load it up, and then you can start cutting around that universe. Down below here at the bottom, these are all of your previously saved turfs. To access any of these and display them on the map, just activate their checkbox. That will then display it on the map. You can then click on that turf, and that will then bring up the other options, allowing you to edit the turf, recalculate the households in the area, show homes on the map, so on and so forth. Okay. So that is it for this page. So once you're done creating your turfs, you can then assign those turfs out to your mobile canvassers, create print lists from those as well. Those are both done under Outreach, Field Canvassing, Assign, and Print Turf. So the first thing that you can do in here is you can create your mobile canvassing project. That is done by clicking this Create New Project button here in the top right corner, assigning a name to that project, selecting a universe, a base survey, start and date and end date. You can also customize the phone number that's displayed in the app as well under Coordinator Phone. There's not too many new options in here, just one in particular, which is called On the Go Project. The On the Go Project allows you to create a base universe and survey, and then afterwards you do not have to make assignments from that project, but instead your canvassers can just log into their canvassing profile, and then wherever they're at, they can click that On the Go Project button on their mobile device, and that will then take into account all the voters that were in the universe that you set within a 1 mile radius of wherever they're located. So that way they can essentially create their own canvassing projects out of proximity rather than out of targets set by you. I know a lot of campaigns will probably like to still maintain control of where their canvassers are walking, but for any larger scale campaigns, that may be useful to you, as you do not have to create 1,000 assignments every week. All right, so once your project has been created, you can make your assignments. The first thing you'll want to do is select your assignment method. So we have a multitude of different methods in here, but it's really, in the grand scheme of things, just two really different types of methods. You have a method using a map, and then you have a method using the list view instead. So if we select this assigned turf from list, and then select our project, that will then bring up the list of turfs that are in our account, and then we can assign them out just by activating the checkbox of the turf we'd like to assign out and selecting which canvassers we'd like to associate that with. But we can also just click on the name of the turf, and that will also bring up an entire list, allowing us to assign to more than 2 people at one time. Once it's been added in, you'll want to move it over to your pending assignments. And for everything that's pending, you can save it to their mobile devices just by clicking the Save Pending Assignments and Send to Devices button here. The map works basically the same way as well. We have 2 different map types of views, one using turfs, one using precincts, so whatever it is that you'd like to assign by, just select that option there. And then you'll then get that list of either precincts or turfs. You can double click on any one of these turfs or precincts, and that will then bring up this view as well, allowing you to assign it to multiple people, as well as just selecting one and clicking this little person icon here. So down below here at the bottom, we have our actual quick list templates that you can generate your paper list from using this map or the map that utilizes turfs. To use these, you'll just select your precinct or turf up here, head down here, name your list, select the universe you would like to use, select the template you would like to use, select your pickup folder, click the print button. That will then still generate your map here in this page, so you can print that out, and then generate your list and send it over to your pickup folder, creating a template just down here, create printable list template, still all the basic stuff in the last iteration. You'll name it, assign it a file type, a layout, survey, and then save it. So once your canvassers have finished canvassing, in the mobile app, you can then approve the data under Outreach, Build Canvassing, Approve Mobile Data. So inside of this page here, you'll just select which view it is that you would like to use. If you would like to view your pending stuff, processed information, or if you'd like to show the actual voter's route on the map. For anything that's pending, it's really simple to approve it. Just activate that checkbox. Click Approve Selected Assignments. Also, a very neat thing in here, if you actually select a canvassing project, here in this Filter by Canvassing Project section here, you'll actually get a list of all the responses that also occurred in there as well, along with their counts. So it's a very useful tool to figure out exactly how well your canvassers are doing. Okay, so that is it for field canvassing. The next place in the program that we'll cover are our count reports. This is located under Reports, and we'll go into our voter file count reports. So in the voter file count reports page, as I said previously, all of the previous voter file count reports in the last iteration of the program are all located in here. They're all under report templates. So inside of here in this list, you'll select which template it is that you would like to use. So in the previous version of the program, we had something called a standard count report that has now been renamed to create custom count report layout. And from that previous standard count report, we actually removed precincts as an option here from this enumeration by rows section. So if you actually want to create a precinct count report, now you'll need to head over to precinct count reports instead. Also what we did was in the previous version, we had a drop-down menu that featured 3 different options, one for rows, one for columns, and one for a filter. And then you had to keep switching through that drop-down menu to add a row, column, or filter. Instead, now we broke that out into 3 different drop-down menu systems, one for columns, one for rows, and one for a filter, which is now called Report Universe Optional. So it's just as simple as selecting the type that you would like to add, the actual value itself. You can then edit the label, click add, and that will then add it in like so. Same for rows as well. Same for universes. Your geography is entered in here. Your enumerations are still selected by activating their checkboxes. Your actual voter count types are located here. So individuals, households, mailboxes, so on and so forth. Down below here at the bottom, we have our demographic and PDI propensity options. Those are still created by clicking on either demographic options or PDI propensity options. That will then generate that pop-up window allowing you to make your selections and assigning a name to that option. And then to utilize those, you just use the drop-down menus like so. Once you're happy with your count report, you can run it by clicking run/view counts, just like before. To run your count reports and send it over to your file pickup folder instead, just click run count/send to file. Everything works just like before. The precinct count reports mirrors this page as well. The only difference is you don't have an add rows column in here, but everything else is basically the same. And all of our other count reports, nothing has changed in those. It's just a different way of accessing those count reports. Okay. All right. So that is it for our voter file count reports. The last thing I'd like to cover today is our visualization reports. So under reports, visualization reports. So these are the Tableau reports that were in the previous version of the program. We've made small adjustments to this page, nothing very really dramatic. Just we've taken some user feedback and tried to focus on the areas that users wanted to see most. So if you select the voter counts version, we'll just have to wait a moment or two for this to load. But you'll see that the map is larger. A couple of things have been enlarged, other things have been shrunken down a bit. But voter distribution, your party breakdown, all of the various tabs are still in here. Larger map, birthplace, ethnicities, gender, so on and so forth. This format will change a little bit if you actually select a universe. Just have to give it another moment or so. So when you actually select a universe, like I said, it changes a little bit. You'll get a much larger map, but then you'll also get permanent vote by mail status, mail ballot return scores, registration dates, house party breakdowns, ethnicities, so on and so forth. So with that, I conclude today's training. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask your questions now. And if there are no questions, I'd just like to thank you all for attending today's UI overview, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.